Yeah, so I guess you've seen the the office space and you've had the tour. I mean, it's basically an old Carlsberg, a bottle cap factory that we've adapted for use as an office space. So it's really nice because it has these 16-meter high ceilings in some places, and then it steps down to lower heights of like 6 and 7 meters in other spaces. But I think you could say that the way the office is organized and the space is very much kind of a product of the Scandinavian heritage of BIG, in that we all sit in the same space. And regardless if you're a project leader or an intern or a project manager or a partner in the office, we basically all sit together. And we group the teams together so people move around a lot. So depending on what project you're moving on, you actually change your tables and your workspaces depending on what you're doing. So it's quite nice and it's very flexible, but it also means that socially it's very flat. So we all sit in the same space and you talk together and you joke together and you draw together and you have a lot of very informal discussions as well. The other nice thing is that we have these meeting rooms as well, meeting spaces that you can tell are quite informal, so people just kind of grab a room and sit and meet and talk together. And during lunchtime, everyone sits together out here in the kitchen area, and we have a catered lunch every day where you can just pull. It's quite an open environment that we have. We have a webcam actually in a big TV just around the corner, with a 24-hour live feed between the New York office and Copenhagen. And it's one of BIG's dreams that one day there'll be a transatlantic love affair that plays out over the TV screens when you see everybody walking back and forth every day. So we actually have a headset that you can wear in front of the TV and talk to people in the New York office. But aside from that, we actually every couple of years we do study trips together, where the whole office comes together and we go and we travel to a place together just to see architecture, but also to be with each other and for the kind of cultural exchange and to have that kind of deep interaction. So the office almost shuts down for between 1 and 2 weeks, and everybody comes together. So on the last trip we actually went to Switzerland, but the time before that we actually went to Japan. We were in Tokyo and Kyoto and Naoshima, some of the islands. So we do that, and on a project basis, we also do like weekly updates, like summaries of all the projects that get shared, so that there's a kind of dialogue and discourse on the work that we're doing as well that happens on a continuous basis. I mean, it's quite important for us that there's a lot of flexibility in the workspace to allow that to happen, so that in a way when you're working, you're not just working by yourself on one part of a project kind of infinitely, so that your entire career could be designing bathroom tiles, but instead that you always have the diversity of people around you with different experiences, and in different phases of the project you get exposure to different types of people with experiences and detailing. You can basically enrich your own experience, but also allow you to contribute in a different way to the people around you as well. I mean, the kind of communicative aspect is important to us. I mean, because it's not only sharing the kind of ideas within us, of course, also between the offices, between Copenhagen and New York, but in a way it's very much a way that we also communicate with the clients. And we try to communicate in the same way, especially when we talk about work, in the sense of what the parameters of a project are, what are the goals and the narrative and the ideas that we're trying to express. Definitely it's a critical part of how we work also, like internally within the office. It's incredibly different depending on the client that we're working with, because just typologically some offices that are used for commercial leasing, inherently clients want them to be as flexible and as open as possible, because in a way you don't know who's occupying the office in the end. So the demand is usually for larger and more flexible workspaces. When you work with clients where you're developing their own workspace, for example, in a headquarters situation, then the dialogue, there's much more engagement with the client and dialogue for like specific concepts and ideas that they might be interested in testing in their own workspaces as well. So it's very much about the kind of internal culture of the company that gets expressed in the design, whereas with a leasing office, in a way you could say it's much more generic in terms of what you produce, because the end user is not known when you actually design the project. We have some clients, for example, that we're working with that I think everyone knows. For example, Google in Mountain View in California, where they're extremely ambitious in redefining what the future of the workspace is. So for them, a lot of the dialogue has been about, if you need to have flexibility for the future, how you can literally shape the workspace around you so that the actual infrastructure, the physical space changes as the teams change as well. So it's not just about having a space where you move desks or you add a wall, or if you change the electrical cabling, but it's like literally moving walls and slabs, like actual building elements to accommodate new working styles in the future. So you could say there's quite a large variation, but I think one of the things that we definitely see more and more is a lot of people are interested in flexibility of workspaces and how they can adapt to changes in the future, because you realize that a workspace that's good for you today may not necessarily be the same workspace tomorrow.